We laughed, we cried, we cringed, and at last, season 15 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta has finally concluded with part 2 of the reunion. Now, we're not used to two parts of reunions on RHOA, but the condensed format meant that the season was slow. Okay? But on the reunion, 1 second, we're talking about Marlo Hampton's late nephew, and then the next minute, Drew Sidora is singing a breakup song right to Ralph Pittman. Part 1 of the reunion ended with Drew's cousin, Courtney Rose. We picked up right where we left off, and Drew thinking she is going in on Courtney about Raph and adopting her son. Sounds like a fake wannabe tough girl. Drew, stop with all of that. So, Drew reminded Courtney that one day her son would see this. Courtney didn't care. She attacked Drew's credibility and claimed she single-handedly destroyed her kid's life. Drew was confident that Raph had coached her. At one point, Kenya Moore jumped in and said, "That's so evil." Sanya Richard Ross also intervened and reminded the cousin that kids are off limits. That is the line we don't cross. Yet Courtney is jumping over it like she's playing hopscotch, as some would presume. But I didn't see Courtney diss her child, saying that talking about them physically or their mental capacity. She just pointed out the fact that her mother was using her for whatever. So I like Courtney this season. I like the fact that she held Drew's feet to the fire and blatantly called Drew a liar. With double Courtney stopped by Raph's dressing room and she ran in there to give him a lowdown on what happened on Drew's sister Allison. Now, can we fairly say that Allison was trying to bully her, running in Raph's dressing room when she doesn't care for him nor Courtney? And I don't care if Drew is her sister. They don't like him. Allison popped that door open so fast like she was ready to rumble. And girl, please take your meds, okay? Allison supports Drew lies. And it's just as plain and simple as that. Things got interesting but super uncomfortable when the conversation turned to Drew's relationship with the WNBA player Ty Young. Courtney claimed that Raph said that he decided he wanted a divorce after learning of Drew's relationship with Ty. Now, when your marriage is in crisis, the first person you call is your distant cousin who you just met through Sheree Whitfield. That makes sense, huh? Well, I don't know whether they became close since they met on the show, but it isn't easy to navigate the Drew and Ty storyline because it feels like some of the women are just trying to out her, okay, which is never okay. If that's what she likes, that is her decision. But Sheree, the bone collector who always thinks she's got the tea, she pulled out some receipts to help further the narrative that Drew and Ty are having an entanglement. Okay. So it was, just copies of Drew and Ty text messages. Sheree claimed an anonymous source dropped them off at Chateau Sheree. But who cares who dropped them off? Allegedly, the evidence was there, if that is true, okay? But Drew never admitted to being in a romantic relationship with Ty, and she is adamant that they were just friends. She also said she's not into women. We also revisit the storyline of Marlo's nephew and the mental gymnastics she did to connect her nephew's death to the shooting at Candy's restaurant. However, One thing that did make sense from Marlo was he never shows anything negative happening in her life on the show. And we can't dismiss Marlo's story and her connection with her nephew and the shooting at Candy's restaurant. Those are her true feelings if they are for a storyline, but we cannot dismiss them. Candy was asked about her attendance, and Andy jumped in for Candy and reminded her of all of Todd's, Tucker, and Mama Joy's drama that had unfolded throughout the series, not the episode or not the season, but throughout the series. We only saw a snippet of that, and not this season. One small snippet of that on an episode. Candy also added that although we don't see a lot of the behind the scenes restaurant mess on RHOA, her spinoff, Candy and the Game, did show, they pretty much showed all of that. And I don't think many watched that show. I don't know. I don't keep up with it. So it was a subtle flex on Candy's part, too, because I almost felt like she was saying, sorry, I have so many projects that you can't keep up with the full Candy Burgers cinematic universe. Well, anyway, but Candy is getting paid to be on the show. She's getting paid for a job. And are they cutting her episodes like they did Nene? Now, between all the talk about infidelity, girl crushes, and questionable cousins, there was a segment for Sanya to talk about the heartbreaking loss she experienced. We followed her through the early days of her pregnancy, but when the cameras went down, she suffered a miscarriage. She described it as one of the most traumatic experiences of her life. She recounted it on the reunion stage and then confronted Kenya after the loss. According to Sanya, everyone else from the cast sent flowers, Uber Eats, and well wishes, but there was radio silence from Kenya. Now, Kenya said she tried to call Sanya but couldn't get a hold of her. Sanya felt like Kenya could have done more to support her. And if the both return next season, this will be a feud worth exploring, right? Sanya clearly wants Kenya friendship, but is Kenya willing to put in the work? Well, Kenya lies so much so we don't even know, but I can answer that question. Girl, no. Kenya worries about her daughter and herself. So accept that, okay? And that's cool, but accept where she is. And in other baby news, Kenya shared an update on her journey for baby number 2. So she decided with the surrogate, although she was initially considering utilizing the embryos that she had ready to roll from her relationship from Mark Daly. Now at this point, that's no longer on the agenda. She announced that she wants to adopt a toddler, and Brooklyn hopes for a little sister. We can't wait to meet all the new little ones coming from this season. There was a lot of darkness in this season, but the baby news is a very good light. And I think that Kenya had thought about the legal ramification and ownership. Now, I wouldn't say ownership, but rights to Mark Daly's child. Okay, so let's get back to Drew and Raph and the most awkward sequence of the event in RHOA reunion history. There were no other husbands or boyfriends at the reunion this time around. It was just Raph, and he was in the hot seat. Raph arrived in his all-black sparkly suit, and Drew immediately pulled out a peach and gave it to him, since that clearly. Over the years, Drew have pulled out dog treats and pet wigs, a peach and plum. She is the prop queen of Atlanta. Raph, however, over and over again. So we don't know what's the truth from their relationship because both of them lie, and I'm sure he enjoying that moment. What was especially interesting was that Drew claimed that Raph apologized to her days ago, but then showed up to the reunion with a different tune. They disagreed on every topic. Drew would say that Raph was lying, Raph would say that Drew was lying. It didn't matter if it was Black Magic, Mike audition, marriage counseling, or cut and dry evidence of sexting. Raph claimed that Drew was lying. How is it possible that he's lying about everything? Okay, so with that being said, I've seen Drew with Ty. Okay, so y'all let me know out there. Have you seen Raph with any other woman or female or his assistant, or have you seen the text and everything? So just let me know. Eventually, Drew got overwhelmed and left the stage. Her and her sister were in the wings, ready to have her back. Allison asked Drew, "Why don't you tell them about the PI?" "Yes, Drew. Please tell us about the PI." Instead of Drew said there was something she wanted to leave off TV. "Girl, you signed up for this show and you are not revealing everything. That is the problem that the viewers have with you and the other franchises of Housewives." Now, when Drew left the stage, it created a fantastic opportunity for nosy Kenya to step in and talk to Raph on her own. Kenya knows a thing or two about dealing with manipulative, gaslighting men, and she's the same way. So she easily took this one down, and it was so satisfying to see Kenya dismantle Raph, and then literally had a smile on her face with everything Mark put her through. So I wonder why she didn't put the same energy into Mark and her relationship. And she continues to put her, and what he continues to put her through at this time. So it was cathartic to see her forced to stand up for Drew. It was also simply the right thing to do, since they're women and they understand what is going through, and it's not the fact that Kenya is standing up for her friend. Kenya just getting in somebody else's turn. She delivered a performance of her new single, "Throw It Away." If it's not evident from the title, this is a breakup song, and she sang it right to Raph while Andy and the rest of the housewives awkwardly watch from the couches. Now, Drew and Raph are still living in the same home. Okay? And they're going through this divorce. I think that this is just a ploy for Drew to promote her music. I am still going to hold my breath for her and Raph to get a divorce, as I will with Kenya. I have to see it to believe it. And if it comes, I'm definitely sure it will come before Kenya does. So Drew was brave for this. She spent the last few hours screaming and crying, but then shifting to performance mode, as she does very well. And she nailed it for what it was worth, but this was probably the most awkward reunion moment we've ever endured. What a way to end things. On the first episode of this reunion, I mentioned that Sheree was going hard on Candy, and now I understand why. Candy was saying a lot of negative things about Sheree on her podcast. And these things did not play out on TV, but it was said. And Candy has always been the one to throw the rock and then hide her hands. She is on it talking about her castmates with outside friends and her employees. And I'm tired of Kenya claiming that Marlo cheapens the show, as if things like Peach Hub doesn't, and the sex toys, parties, and the lying and the making up of the storyline, and not being a real housewife and eating somebody's behind doesn't cheapen the show. I believe Raph and Drew is pulling the wolves over our heads. Drew and Raph were having problems before they left Chicago, and Bravo is just convenient. But anyway, Drew's assistant confirmed Drew's relationship when Drew does what she does, is blame the easiest one, which is rap at this point. Candy and the rest of the cast member heard it from Drew's assistant, Danny, as well. And I would have loved to hear from Ross, his point of view about the miscarriage, and Todd hear about the making of his movie and the concept of his movie. With any season of Real Housewives, once the reunion ends, the casting rumors begin. Who's getting fired? Who's getting demoted? RHOA is especially in the spotlight because of the pesky rumors of full-blown reboot and casting shakeup. However, as Andy and the ladies toast the reunion stage, Sheree ended the season 15 with some poignant words of encouragement. Knowing that this could be the last time we see some of these women together on television, she told the ladies how much she loved them, especially when they can have fun and laugh together. This season got dark at times, but RHOA is best when they can all come together and laugh at the end. So y'all tell me what you think about this story, and as always, I thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye now.